The event is being attended by the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, the French President Emmanuel Macron, and US Vice President Kamala Harris, amongst others. Last year's gathering took place in the run-up to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and this year leaders will need to grapple with the consequences of Moscow's actions. France 24's Nick Spicer standing by in Munich at this hour. Nick, good afternoon to you. What's on the agenda for this conference?
Well, it's going to be kicking off with a video address from the Ukrainian president, from the Ukrainian capital, Volodymyr Zelensky, speaking at 2:45 local time, and he's expected to make another appeal for weapons and to express his gratitude to the 50-odd countries that have been sending weapons to Ukraine for over a year now. And following that, the French President Emmanuel Macron will answer questions from the host, organizer of the Munich Security Conference, who's expected to ask him possibly about fighter jets after the delivery of tanks from France, from Germany, from the United States, the United Kingdom. The next item on the wish list of the Ukrainian armed forces is F-16s or Saab fighter jets, something to enable them to fight back the Russian Air Force and to shoot down some of those incoming missiles. So a lot of discussions about how to help Ukraine, how not to sort of provoke Russia in helping Ukraine, and all of the other items on the agenda have sort of moved down. There's talks with China perhaps about the balloon that was shot down, how to smooth things over. Kamala Harris might be taking care of that, but it's really Ukraine front and center here today.
And speaking of more weaponry for Kyiv and the question of fighter jets, the US has until now said no to granting Kyiv that request. Could we get any announcements, you think, from where you are?
Well, of course, they don't have a crystal ball, and I don't know what the diplomats are saying behind closed doors, but I think we can safely look to the past for some elements of an answer. You remember when there was never going to be any armored vehicles, no tanks, and then all of a sudden the French decided to send light tanks, and then the Brits decided to send in their tanks, and there's massive pressure on Germany to allow the sending in of its own Leopard tanks and the re-export of some 2,000 odd Leopard tanks, and all of that came to be. So it's a matter of pressure, and I think there have been big changes. The foreign minister of Ukraine saying recently that Germany has really stepped up, really changed its perspective, and President Zelensky saying earlier, in an interview with the BBC actually today, that when it comes to negotiations and talking with Russia, the only words that Russia responds to are weapons. So I think there is definitely a lot of hope on the Ukrainian side that there will be aircraft delivered. I don't really expect there will be a decision announced today by any particular player. That might take place in a different venue, the Ukraine Contact Group, which is where all of the countries that supply weapons to Ukraine decide to and come together to make that kind of decision.
Nick, thank you very much for the update. Nick Spicer reporting there for us from Munich.